Good Friday evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We are here to bring you the latest on the cold that's coming our way across most of the country this weekend. We're going to be talking about the New Orleans area, the Gulf Coast, and just how frigid it's going to be across our region in southeast Louisiana and South Mississippi this weekend. The bitter cold temperatures, they're starting to take shape across most of the country. I mean, it's been below freezing for days now, farther to the north for the mid-Atlantic, the Midwest, up into the northern plains. It has been incredibly cold into New England for the last week. Now, we're going to get another taste of bitter cold temperatures across the deep south this weekend. Very frigid. That's why we have the weather impact alert for our area the next several days through the weekend into Monday morning, because it's going to be extremely cold all weekend long. Our wind chills, our feels like temperatures are going to be in the teens and single digits on Saturday morning. We'll have to worry about our pipes for a couple mornings this weekend, maybe some pipe freezing concerns going into the next several mornings. So a lot to talk about. So here we go. The cold air is headed our way now. Temperatures are starting to drop north of the lake. We're in the 40s now. It's 45 in Hammond and 49 in Mandeville. Still in the low 50s on the South Shore, but those temperatures are going to continue to plummet the rest of tonight, and winds are going to be picking up. Winds are coming in mostly out of the north and northwest, around 20 to 22 miles per hour. Those are our current gusts. We're going to have stronger gusts, though, late tonight into the overnight through tomorrow. We'll probably see gusts getting close to 30, 40 miles per hour late tonight into tomorrow morning. It is nice and quiet right now. We've got cloudy skies. It's dry, but it's going to be getting chilly as the night progresses. So for those parade goers tonight, of course, you want to wear a jacket. It's going to be cold and blustery, but even colder tomorrow. So tomorrow's parades, the forecast is downright frigid. So the rest of tonight, we'll have mostly cloudy skies at first, clearing skies overnight. Temperatures falling fast. They'll be in the 30s tomorrow morning, and it's going to be blustery and breezy. We'll probably wake up to the 20s on the South Shore and definitely the 20s on the North Shore as this Arctic air spreads in across the eastern half of the country this weekend into the Gulf Coast, into the deep south, into Florida as well. Florida is going to be getting some bitter cold weather this weekend with this cold snap headed our direction. So wind chill tonight. Since the winds are going to be picking up, temperatures are going to be plummeting. It will feel like the 20s and 30s late tonight. Not too bad just yet, but then tomorrow morning, it's going to be dangerously cold for our standards along the Gulf Coast like we've been talking about. It'll feel like the teens and even the single digits north of the lake tomorrow morning. If you have to run some errands tomorrow morning, you're going to be out and about early tomorrow, make sure you layer up, bundle up, keep warm, hats, gloves, scarves, things like that. You don't want exposed skin in these blustery cold conditions. Tomorrow afternoon, it feels like the 20s, that's it. And then tomorrow night, it feels like the teens and 20s again. We really get no relief. It's going to be some relentless cold this weekend. Going into Sunday morning, still feels like the teens and 20s. So here's your weekend forecast across the area. Plenty of sunshine Saturday and Sunday, but blustery and bitter cold. Like, I'm running out of adjectives to describe just how cold it's going to be this weekend here for us. 35 degrees only tomorrow afternoon for our actual high temperature. 44 on Sunday, so bitterly cold and windy. Winds will be a bit calmer on Sunday, which is kind of a silver lining. It'll be dry and sunny all weekend long, and we'll have to watch for some hard freezes the next few mornings, especially north of the lake. So tomorrow, winds from the north sustained around 15 to 20 miles per hour, but then we have those gusts throughout the day at times between 30 to 40 or so miles per hour. Very windy tomorrow, and that only adds insult to injury with the cold. So the cold air, it's dipping down pretty quickly across the country. Some snow happening into the Tennessee Valley, some snow showers in North Carolina, parts of West Virginia as well into Virginia. A little bit of snow showers happening in parts of the Midwest and the plains and into Arkansas. Not a whole lot. Nothing compared to what happened last week. But that is different for places farther to the east. So here at home, it's just cold. No snow, no ice, none of that for us. But for the Carolinas, into Georgia, even parts of Virginia, they are going to be seeing some snow, several inches of snow with this storm coming in this weekend. That storm's going to intensify offshore. Luckily, it is pulling more offshore, so big impacts not expected for New England or the mid-Atlantic. Now, farther to the south for parts of the southeast, this is going to be more impactful for them into Virginia. But as the storm pulls away, it looks like snow will be just along the coastal spots of the northeast, which is good. They need a break. They still have to thaw out from what happened the other day. There's so much snow and ice just stuck across the mid-Atlantic into the northeast, into New England, into the Midwest. It's incredibly frigid there, and they've got snow and ice that they're still dealing with. So they're getting a break as this system pulls more to the east. Now here at home, we're going to be completely dry this weekend. No snow, no ice, like I mentioned. But we've been talking about how the models, which are kind of sensitive sometimes, they pick up on maybe a little bit of snow flurries tomorrow morning. It's possible, very low chance, probably not going to happen, but a couple little snow flurries are very, very slightly possible tomorrow morning, but I would not count on it. But it'd be cool to see if we could see a couple snow flurries tomorrow morning. No impacts from that, and it's probably not even going to happen. So tomorrow morning, temperatures will be in the 20s, both sides of the lake. Sunday morning, also 20s, low 20s on the South Shore, upper teens on the North Shore on Sunday morning. Monday morning, still bitter cold, 20s north and upper 20s and low 30s south on Monday morning. So this is the biggest thing, of course. Do we need to protect our pipes? I think you need to protect your pipes if you're north of the lake tonight into tomorrow morning. If you're south of the lake, maybe if your pipes are very sensitive and exposed. That's really up to you. If you have exposed pipes and you're worried about them on the South Shore, do it tonight. But tomorrow night into Sunday morning, this is crucial. You'll definitely want to protect your pipes both sides of the lake on Sunday morning. So Saturday night into Sunday morning, both sides of the lake we're worried about our pipes. Monday morning, only have to worry about your pipes if you're north of the lake, and that's for Sunday night into Monday morning. So here's your 7-day forecast. Bitter cold temperatures, weather impact alert for Saturday, Sunday into early Monday. Temperatures are going to be frigid this weekend. Make sure you bundle up and keep warm. It's very important that you keep yourself warm. If you don't have to be outside for long periods of time, you could stay indoors and just wait this cold out. But if you plan to hit the parades, a lot to do this weekend, make sure you layer up and keep warm all weekend long. We stay cold into Monday morning. Monday, Groundhog Day. We'll see what he has to say about this. We are getting better though. Monday afternoon, 58 degrees. A little warmer on Tuesday and Wednesday in the 60s, so that'll feel nice. Some relief does come. Plan for a few showers on Wednesday, and then later in the week, it does get cool again. Today, meteorologist Payton Malone spoke to several experts on how to prepare for this bitter cold snap. We're gonna go check in and see what Payton found out today.
We've had we call him our resident pipe expert at this point. It's Danny Griffin from Pipes R Us. You have been our voice of reason now for years.
Yes.
I'm so glad to have you in to talk about this, because this is the biggest question I get when we do get cold like this, are my pipe. People start freaking out. Let's start by talking about how vulnerable are our houses actually down here to these freezes?
Like we talked about earlier, houses are so different. You have raised houses, slab houses, you have galvanized water lines, you have, PEX water lines, you have copper water lines. So really, truthfully, the best way to do it is just to run a trickle of hot water, just a pencil stream of hot water at your furthest fixture, because what that's going to do is it's going to go through your hot and your cold line, so it keeps it running and flowing.
And like you said, and it sounds like what I've heard from many people, every house is different, right? One thing we were talking about earlier that was really interesting are these tankless water heaters.
Right.
These things are really vulnerable if they're in the wrong spot.
Yes, because if they're in an attic, a lot of times, obviously, you don't have heat up in the attic and it's not insulated on the roof line, or if you have it on the outside of your house. All it is just a tube. It doesn't hold water as far as a tank goes. And a tank water will get cold and hot. Obviously, it kicks on and kicks off. A tankless will not kick on until you turn it on. So basically, you have to run through that tankless just to make sure you're keeping the flow go.
And you said yours is frozen before?
Yes.
Your tankless? Oh, wow. So that just goes to show you.
Well, the manufacturer will sit there and tell you that it goes down to a certain temperature. I sat there, listened to the manufacturer and a couple other, we did it that way, and I just don't recommend it, being that it happened to me.
Yeah, it's better safe than sorry, as we like to say. Okay, another question I often get are running the dishwasher or doing the laundry at night. If you turn on that in the middle of the night, is that going to help you out at all, or is that a little risky?
I would just have a steady stream running.
Yeah.
I would not worry, I would not depend upon if you're going to run a certain appliance.
Okay, and let's talk about the difference between a steady stream and a drip. Because you hear say drip, but it probably should be more of a steady stream.
More of a steady stream, yes, like a pencil point, just a steady stream, not a drip, because a drip, it will catch up and it will freeze.
It will freeze. All right, another one, outside pipes. I was telling you earlier, the drippers on my planters were going off the other day, and what an icy mess it made.
Right.
I mean, does it do anything to run a faucet outside other than create a mess?
It's going to create a mess.
Yeah.
Run it inside.
Okay.
Because the fact is, here's the thing, you're never going to get full coverage. of your pipes. It's just not going to happen. The best way to do it is the furthest point away from it on the inside of your house, and that's going to cover the best that it will cover.
And we were talking earlier about, should I run my hot and cold, or which one should I run?
I just run hot, because basically if you run a pencil stream of hot, what it's going to do, again, it'll go through your cold line to your heater and then go through the hot line out your faucet.
And that also protects your tankless too, right?
Correct. Yes. If it's outside or in an attic, yes.
Okay. Okay. Let's say you are in a raised home versus a home with a foundation.
Right.
What are we looking at there? How much vulnerable are you?
You're 100% more vulnerable, because your pipes are exposed to the elements. So what you have to look at is that a slab, a lot of times it comes up through the slab or it goes through your attic, through your insulation. You're covered, but a raised house is wide open, and it should be insulated.
Okay. And let's say you get to Sunday and you're on the North Shore, or rather Saturday, whichever day, and you notice your water has stopped running. That means it's frozen.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
now what do you do?
Well, the best thing is, not the best thing, the smartest thing is to find out where your shutoff is now. So you need to be able to know where to shut your house off. And yes, you can shut off with a meter, but you need a water key to shut it off. Mainly plumbers have those. You can get them at Home Depot, but the best place is where you can shut it off by hand at your house.
And you're not going to know where that break is until it melts?
Until it melts, that's it.
Oh my gosh. And then what do you do? Okay, so let's say the water's turned off.
Right.
You know your pipes were frozen. You don't know if it busted though, so how do you know? You turn it back on and you
Once
see.
you turn it back on, and if the meter's running or if you can hear it, that's the only way you're going to be able to tell.
And then that's when you call
a plumber.
A plumber.
Yes.
Okay, and that's what you do.
And another thing too on that one is that if you have a raised house, you can look underneath the raised house. But if not, the best way is just to hear.
Sure. And I mean, what is the scope of if you do have busted pipes, and what are you looking at here?
I mean, it could be anything from a simple repair to a piece of copper that busted, a fitting that burst. It might be an hour. It could be you have to replace your entire water lines. Again, we went through this, probably 5 or 6 years ago, when it was really, really bad.
Really bad.
And a lot of people got their water lines replaced. They insulated, they listened, they did what they were supposed to do. You have some outliers that haven't, but the thing is, it's probably just a simple repair for most people.
And these newer things that plumbers are using, these are not like our old things that were being used years ago, correct?
The material?
The material.
No,
yeah.
so basically it's material. We're either using copper or PEX, and mostly everyone's using PEX because it's a cheaper material, but it does withstand temperatures a lot better than copper does. So it can expand and contract up until 1.5 times its size, and then it can go back down without bursting.
And this typically down here in our area, that's probably suffice for the freezes we are getting.
Correct. I think for the most part, unless it's straight up cold for days like you said, and it's really, really low, it should be fine.
Now, this last freeze we had last weekend, we had some hard freezes. Did y'all get a lot of calls, or how
we didn't get one.
Didn't get one?
Didn't get one, no.
I had to ask everyone on social media a couple of days ago, did anyone have frozen pipes? And I had one report, and it was up in Abita Springs, but it seemed like most fared okay.
Yes,
so
yes.
Hopefully that happens this time.
I think that if everybody just kind of runs their water, and they should be fine.
Now, we talk about it's important to not run the water too much, because then we get into these low water pressure issues.
Yes.
And
well, people panic, and you know that. When they panic, they want to turn every faucet on. Here's the thing is that no matter what you do, you're never going to cover the entire house. So by running multiple faucets, all you're doing is dropping the pressure, and fire departments and all that. When you drop the city water pressure, if people are running too many faucets at one time, is not good.
And God forbid there's a fire and we don't have water pressure.
Correct. So just you run your one stream and you should be good.
You should be good. All right, Danny. Hey, listen, we'll get through this one, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you at the next Arctic event. We thank you for coming
appreciate
in
it. from
Pipes R Us, and hopefully your water heater's fine this time around.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, while we do protect your pipes as well, we are getting you ready for what is going to be a cold, frigid, I don't know how else to say it, weekend. We are going to be looking at feel-like temperatures in the teens and 20s for these parades. We've got our Dr. Corey Hebert here, our medical expert for WWL Louisiana. And Dr. Hebert, you're inside right now. Would you recommend staying inside all weekend?
I would, only because most people in New Orleans, you don't really have the gear that you need to get to where, you could just go out and be exposed in all of these elements. But, there are parades and people want to go. I get it. So if you do want to go, the key is to be prepared.
Be prepared, and I think you be prepared by having as many layers as you can. Now, let's say we know a lot of people are going to go out to these parades. I'm going to go out, Dr. Hebert, okay? I do have a bit more coats than some people have down here. How long can you stay out in this, and what are signs you should look for that, okay, I've overstayed my welcome outside?
Yeah. Well, I think that the biggest thing is what you just said is the layers. See, people think that I'll just wear a sweater and then put on a big giant coat. We don't want to do that. I mean, if you had to do that and you had nothing else, that's one thing. But what you want to do is put on multiple layers. You want 4 to 5 thin layers so that you can either add or take the layers off if you start to get too warm inside when you're just kind of taking a break. Because what happens is you want to insulate yourself and then put on the heavy coat. See, the problem that people are going to have is that New Orleans, we like to go to the parades, but we don't like to go to the parades and hydrate. With water.
With water,
We
yeah.
go to parades and we hydrate with Jack Daniels, okay? And this is the problem, because when you drink alcohol, you lose hydration. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you get a little bit numb anyway, and you lose a little bit of feeling. So you're out there and you're drinking, you're holding probably something cold, generally, and then you can actually get frostbite. And people don't realize that if you start having that numbness and tingling in your tips of your fingers and the tips of your toes. I've had patients that literally came to the ER after being out all night, and they have had to have an amputation because they were exposed for multiple hours holding something cold, and then their fingers and toes got to tingling, but they kept going. Then they got numb. So when they got numb, they said, oh, I guess it'll be okay. No, that's when the danger is. So what we don't want you to do if you feel that is to go and put your hands or your feet in hot things. We want you to gradually warm them up, and if in a few, well, we'll say a couple of hours, really, we don't want to go any further than that. If they haven't really returned to how they feel normally, then you need to seek some help. So I would actually say that, 3 or 4 hours, 5 to 6 hours, if you are appropriately dressed. And that means having real clothing, like, down coats and fleece and base layers and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you got to have this when you go out there.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's talk about the vulnerability of some people and like specific ages. I mean, people want to take their kiddos out to these things. At what point is someone too young to go out to these parades and be this cold?
Yeah, I want us to use our hat of common sense here. I mean, if you wanted to take a toddler out to the parades for a little while so they can see the spectacle, that's okay. I wouldn't take a newborn out in this because anybody that is very, very young or very, very old, they're at increased risk for any of these ailments. Now, just remember that when we talk about the ailments, people think that when you're exposed to cold, that's when you get sick. Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword here, because if exposure to cold made you sick all the time, everyone in Alaska would always be sick. That's not truly the case, right? What it is that when we're cold, we tend to we're inside more and we're around each other more. And so we're spreading viruses more, and the viruses tend to be a little bit more active in some of these types of climates. So washing your hands is going to be just as important as staying out of the fray, okay? But people talking to you much more closely because they're cold, huddling in these masses so people can maintain warmth. That's why you get really sick. Now, there are some studies to show that if you are exposed to extreme temperatures for a longer period of time, your immune system does go down a tad bit, but that is an outlier. Really, what's happening is that we are interacting closely, not washing our hands, and being more susceptible to those viruses in those closed areas. So the elderly and babies that are, not toddlers, they really shouldn't be out there at all.
Yeah, and there's a reason we're all sick after Mardi Gras, it seems, so we're all so close together. Any last pleas for people, Dr. Hebert, on what they should do this weekend?
Yeah, a couple of things, please. I talk about this all the time, but when you go outside to try to cover up your pets, cover up your plants and put in your pets and wrap your pipes, don't be drinking when you're doing that, because you're going to be up on a ladder doing stuff. I literally almost fell off a ladder. I wasn't even drinking, and I was trying to cover up one of the plants. So be very careful. Accidents are a big problem. If you're using any type of space heater, carbon monoxide detectors, this is a great time to go and check all of your carbon monoxide detectors to make sure that they're okay. Do not use any generators or anything like that inside of your home. Somebody's going to have an issue with this. And also, Also, do not use a fireplace that you haven't used in a very long time. Make sure the flue is open, because you're going to get these fumes in your house, and it's going to be uncomfortable, or it could be deadly. So this kind of stuff is, if you do all your check boxes, you should be fine. But if you miss one, you could have a problem.
Yeah, these are big things, and that's great advice. I just changed my batteries in my carbon monoxide detectors, Dr. Hebert. So I hope everyone has a great weekend, a safe weekend. We thank you so much for joining us from the coziness of wherever you are. Yeah, we'll be out there.
I'll see you out there. I'll be out there for a bit.
Okay, sure you will. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Hebert. All right, and we are getting you out to the parades, and we want you to stay warm and safe this weekend. Alyssa Curtis. What a slip. Alyssa Curtis here. She has been our kind of correspondent talking to all these parade organizers. And what are they feeling right now with this weekend?
So the only parade that is seeing any changes at all is the Crew of Bilge. They're moving from Saturday to February 28th. That's the only parade that's changing. Everything else is staying as planned.
And we should say the Crew of Bilge is on water. And I've got gale warnings in effect this weekend, so there's not anybody going to be on the water. But okay, so down here on the South Shore, tonight rather, we've got Crew of Titans rolling in.
Well, Crew of Titans is on in Slidell, North Shore.
Slidell,
So they are rolling at 6:30 tonight. They're set to roll. They think that they're going to be off the parade route by about early enough that it's not going to be so freezing, so they're going to be good to go.
I feel good about Titans tonight, and the one happening in the quarter, Crew of Boems too. Now tomorrow is the issue, and once we get towards the parading hours, it seems like no one's moved times.
No.
Because I don't know that there's going to be a big difference between rolling at 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. here. Wind chill is still going to be like 20 degrees at that time.
Yeah, so some of the North Shore parades were considering moving times a little bit earlier to see maybe will the sunlight help a little bit. Like you mentioned, probably not much, but it's not so simple as, hey, let's change the time, everyone come 2 hours early. They have so many facets that they need to get together. They have the law enforcement presence. It's not only Slidell Police Department, it's Mandeville, Covington, LSP. It's a lot of agencies that need to get their manpower ready 2 hours earlier, and if they're scheduled to be set somewhere else, it's a little bit more difficult. So they're like, just get your long johns, get some beanies, get some gloves, we'll be okay.
Yeah, gloves are so important. If you've ever gone to a Mardi Gras parade and catch beans when your hands are cold, it's like
hand-eye coordination goes out the window.
And like Abraham said, you'll have a cocktail or two. All right, the other thing, we're talking about the South Shore here with Crew de Vue rolling tomorrow. This is a popular one. It's a parade where you see a little less clothing, I would say. What are parade organizers saying about Crew de Vue?
Oh, I love Crew de Vue. They are hilarious. I went to go talk to Captain Lee, and he was like, oh, we're fine. We are rolling. It'll be okay. I think the other thing, too, we have to take in consideration, this time of year, there's always some sort of weather event that impacts these parades. So they're like, we've rolled in rain, we've rolled in cold, like we're okay. They did tell me that some of the more risque costumes may not be as risque tonight or tomorrow. They're going to be putting on, some coats. They'll be all right.
They'll be out there rolling. And we want to remind you too, the parade route is different for Crew de Vue because of the construction going on in the quarter. It's going up some roads that it's probably never gone up before. And so don't
definitely
forget
check our app for sure.
Our app will be a good resource. Well, any other updates from crews this weekend? It sounds like everything's just rolling as normal.
I think they're good. I know a lot of the riders are just going to have some extra layers on as always, but they also say, if you do go out because the parade route might be seeing less people because of the cold, you might get some better throws. Definitely go out. You might get some more signature throws, some good stuff out there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I know I'll be out there. We'll be bundled up here, and I know a lot of you will be out there as well.
That's right. Our Parade Tracker app has live tracking of all the big parades from tonight through Fat Tuesday and even into St. Patrick's Day. You can even get the latest forecast on there. Just search your phone's app store for the WWL Parade Tracker and download it for free. Thanks for joining us for this winter weather update. Our next newscast is tonight at 10. You can watch right here on WWL+. That's where you'll find also extended forecasts and more tips on how to stay safe as the temperatures drop. Just download the app for your smart TV and watch for free.